guys, welcome to the Accidental Fatherhood podcast with James and Ash. We started this podcast because there isn't a lot of support out there for us guys. We're going through a pretty tough time right now.
Yeah, accidents, not mistakes.
Unplanned pregnancies and new relationships and what is going on with our lives. So we're trying to bring a little bit of support through some awesome special guests, and
It's a place to commiserate together.
And we are rolling. Welcome everyone to the Accidental Fatherhood podcast with James and Ash. We are here today with another fellow accidental father. Nick, would you like to give us a little bit of an intro on who you are and why you're here?
Yeah, my name's Nick. I'm a father of two, fiance. I saw the title of your podcast. A friend of mine came on. I was intrigued straight away. He gave us the introduction.
Yeah, nice.
Awesome.
And that friend was Tyler, for those of you playing at home.
Yeah.
So Tyler Erickson, episode 4 or 5, 6, I don't know.
Never listen to Ash with the episode numbers because he always stuffs
Dust it up. Anyway.
But it's the thought that counts, Ash.
Anyway.
So tell us about your fatherhood journey. What happened?
Wow. So as opposed to accidental, it was more unplanned and unprepared. So we had the idea of wanting children, Rebecca and myself. This would be really exciting. This would be a great time in our life. Let's do this. Really excited about it. That excitement continued. And then I wasn't prepared to support my fiance with everything that came with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you said you got really excited, what did that look like?
To me, it's like, especially when we found out we was having a boy, I was like, we're going to have this little sidekick to run around everywhere with us. And that happens. And I wasn't prepared for the impact on social, family, sleep,
Yeah.
the things that come along. Yeah.
So tell us about the contraceptive technique that didn't work.
James has had some
the
questions.
lack of.
The lack of.
Yeah.
Was there?
Yeah.
Were you guys? So it happened accidentally. In like you weren't going, oh, let's have a baby now. But
We were toying with the idea, but it wasn't like, let's
Right.
do this. It was like,
So-
this would be fun. And it was in conversation and that kind of
And
stuff.
you're like, let's try. It'll take a couple of months, maybe a year to try.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then,
the first part of it is fun.
yeah.
You know, that is the fun part.
and then, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you fell pregnant pretty quick, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so we had been together for about 4 months.
Oh, welcome.
Yeah.
You fit right in here.
4 months, and you were already talking babies.
It was conversation that was coming up. Like it was,
Who started this conversation?
yeah, it was. It's always been a fantastic relationship, and it was one for us where we met, and we were then together by default for.
4 months.
Yeah, it was like it was a long time before we'd even had a night apart from the first day we met.
Wow. So it's
Yeah.
like almost love at first sight for you guys. By the sound of things.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Right.
And you're still with
Yeah,
partner.
yeah.
currently.
Still with Rebecca now.
Yeah.
We just moved to Mermaid Waters a couple of weeks ago, and it's great.
Yeah. So you sound like you're from England.
Yeah,
Did you meet over here, or did you move here from there? What did that dynamic look like?
yeah. We've been together for 5 years. On the 16th of October, I'd been here for about 4 years prior to that.
Okay. And she's she's Australian, born and bred.
Yeah. She grew up in Northern Rivers around Kingscliff area.
Oh, beautiful area.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I've got to ask. So it sounds like, so you guys got pregnant at 4 months, and then from what you're saying, would I be right in saying that you guys had a bit of a split after Bub came or something? Did something happen? Like when you said you weren't prepared, there was like sleep.
So there was a bit of split later in the story,
Yep.
and that was around the end of last year.
Oh, God.
After we'd had another child.
Okay.
Yeah.
But back together now.
Yeah. It was.
It was a happy ending, guys. It was a happy
Yeah, it
ending.
was a space that was needed for growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us about the journey into fatherhood. What has been the most challenging part of that journey with this new partner that you've known for 4 months? I'd like to know, because my partner is quite stressed about or anxious about the whole process.
Yeah.
And with all the hormones and everything, she turned into kind of not the best version of herself. Like she was struggling a little bit, or she is struggling a little bit. So just curious, how was that relationship with you guys going through the first trimester? Is that one that a lot of people struggle with?
So Rebecca came down with something called hyperemesis that we had no idea what it was. The doctors didn't know what it was. They were giving her drugs, testing her. The sickness starts and is relentless. It affects about 1 in 100 women. It goes for the entire term of the pregnancy. Anything that goes down comes back up. She went to hospital the first pregnancy 4 or 5 times for fluids as she was just throwing up. The first medication they gave her, one of the side effects was depression. She became really down. So she was physically throwing up, feeling like crap in bed. She was like, I feel like I'm dying. I don't know what's going on. Like, it was like, do you need to go to the hospital? Yes, let's go to the hospital. And that's when she got her first set of fluids, and they dove a bit further into the actual situation. And she ended up on a medication called ondansetron, which is a chemotherapy drug to actually stop the physical movement of being able to throw up. Mm-hmm. And then came the concerns of, will this affect the baby? Will this affect me? What is this?
Of course. It must have been very scary to be taking medication because, you've got to be worried about sometimes what you're eating on pregnancy, like eggs and things like that. So giving this chemotherapy medication must have been worrying. Yeah.
And diving into this world of hyperemesis that even I knew nothing about, Rebecca as a woman knew nothing about, yet is as common as 1 in 100 people.
That sounds really common.
And it was just like a huge shock to everyone's system.
What was going through your mind at the start of when that was going on?
Confusion.
Confusion about your relationship, or
not about the relationship, about what is this? Is there something seriously wrong with her? Is the baby going to be okay? My life's on hold caring for her. At the time, it was shortly after a back injury I suffered as well. So
you both laid out in bed.
Yeah, it was just it was a very trying time, and Rebecca was absolutely amazing, and we learned a lot about each other through it. And I'm reflecting back on it now, just like how with no knowledge did we make it through that.
Yeah, that would have been like the longest 9 months.
Yeah.
Of your
and
life.
It's a situation where the second the baby's born, it stops.
Wow.
Like it just goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did that happen in the second one as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So were you guys planning on the second one?
Yes, we were planning on the second one after we had we went on a baby moon a few months before our first son Sailor was due. And we went up to Early Beach and we went out to the Barrier Reef, and there was an older only child with his parents on the boat. We're like, we're going to have to have one more. We're going to have to have more than one so they have company.
Yeah.
Because he just looks so bored. And that's what opened the conversation up for that. So before the first was even born, we were like, we're going to need a team of kids.
Yeah. Was she reluctant? Were you guys a bit reluctant to go through that again? Or were you able to prepare for it?
So we were hopeful that it wouldn't happen. It doesn't. If you have it once, it's not guaranteed that it's going to happen again.
Right.
Then the 6 to 7, 8 week kind of window come up, and she started being sick again, and she knew straight away. However, she knew straight away. We were able to go to the doctor, say it's happened again.
Yeah. Can we have the drugs that we had last time?
Yeah, and then they were actually great. The hospital were just like, come into emergency whenever you need fluids.
Yeah, awesome.
Just show up. We can do it.
So you're able to deal with the situation.
Yeah.
And what about the mental health part of that for your partner and yourself?
Yeah.
It must have been pretty trying for you both navigating this. How did you support each other? What did you find was the best way to support each other through that?
The best way to support anyone through that would be to listen. However, that was not a strong point of mine in that time. Due to the hyperemesis, Beck also had postnatal depletion, so she had lost so much weight, which is the opposite of the norm in pregnancy.
Yeah,
from my perspective. And after giving birth, she was tiny.
Yeah, right.
So it was,
There'd be a lot of women out there going, "You bitch, I want that."
yeah, and that left her mental health in a very confused state.
Yeah. And that must have been challenging for you as well, meeting this new person for 4 months, now having a baby.
Yeah.
I feel like you would be questioning, this relationship a little bit, going, have I done the right thing here? Is this going to be, this has turned into a very hard situation, So was there any, did you have any doubt about your relationship?
There was no doubt on the relationship ever.
Amazing.
Questions came up about did we make the right decision? Is she going to be okay? There was a lot going through my mind. One thing I knew for sure was the relationship, and how much I loved her.
So for you, it was I just want to be there and help her through this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'd done the best I could.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah. With the tools you had.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And Rebecca's suggestion was that we looked into something called hypnobirthing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Are you guys familiar with that at all?
We are.
Yeah. So just for a bit of background, I've got a 1-year-old, or almost one, and James's girlfriend's
I've got a minus 2-month-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
very, very soon.
Yeah, great.
But to your question, I did hypnobirthing here.
Yeah.
Did you guys were you guys on the coast with your babies? Yeah. So I did it with a lady called Megan Amore. I call her out all the time.
That's a friend of Rebecca.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and love that.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
Especially because it really gets you involved with the pregnancy.
Absolutely.
As a man,
Huge.
Whereas everything else seems to be you go in and you sit on the sidelines, but it gives you a responsibility. I found with hypnobirthing, I had responsibility. And I took it seriously, and I was right, I'm the person that's in charge of the birth plan. I'm calling the shots here, because she's going to be giving birth. So. Yeah, and
I felt really empowered from that. We did it with someone else, Becca's since met Megan.
Yeah,
and it felt so empowering to know that this is the plan.
Yeah,
this is what we want. This is how we want it to go. We decided we did want to go to the hospital, and how to work through that system as we went to one of the first pregnancy workshops, let's call it, at the hospital. And we actually ended up walking out after about half an hour because it was just all these horrific birth stories, all the things that could go wrong. And it's what on earth is this? And then it was hypnobirthing, let's do it.
Yeah. I actually I saw a friend I haven't seen in ages at the organic store the other day.
Yeah.
And my partner's really anxious about the pregnancy. She just thinks, because you hear all these horror stories all the time, and that must be going through their minds, this fear of what if something goes wrong. And the lady behind her kind of goes, so I know everyone's probably been telling you all these horror stories. I want you to tell you mine. We had an amazing birth. Both of them, they were beautiful. It was one of the most beautiful experiences. So just go, try not to think about those bad things all the time. I know it must be hard, but yeah.
That was a huge part of the hypnobirthing for us, was undoing the programming of movies and television and high school stories of it's the most painful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Both pregnancies, Becca's given birth pain-free.
Wow.
No drugs.
Yeah.
Thanks to hypnobirthing.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So looking back on, when you talked about you did the best with the tools you had.
Yeah.
What would you have done differently had you have known what was going on? Is there anything you would have changed?
Changed. I learned so much from it that to change anything would have hindered that. However, just my abilities as a man to hold my woman and hear her properly and be able to feel what she's going through and not be frustrated when she says, this is specifically what I want for dinner. So I spend an hour going to get it, come back, can't eat it. There's things like that which came up, and because this was brand new for me, and I was just what is this challenge? What is this what's going on? And now it's it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just get her what she wants. She changes her mind, fine. It's great.
Yeah. I must admit, when I saw that you were coming on the podcast, I did have a look at your reels, and I saw that chocolate. that melted chocolate on the ice cream, and that's what I'm doing when I get home tonight, just on food.
You know, I opened a TikTok account a couple of weeks ago and posted that video. Got like 500,000 views overnight.
What the hell, man?
I'm pouring chocolate on ice cream from now on.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we could try that to get some
Yeah,
views up.
I might try that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
We could do like an orange one and a chocolate one, so you can get the colours in there, and bit of accidental fatherhood kind of branding through.
Don't screw with the classics, man. What was I going to ask? I've gone blank. There was something I was going to ask, and it was a really good question.
Was it? So what about? Obviously, we've talked about the birth a lot. What was it like being a new dad? What was that experience like? Because everyone says to me that the first 3 months is pretty challenging. How did you find the new fatherhood experience?
I was over the moon. It was the description I was giving to Beck. I remember when I was a kid and I got a bike for Christmas and I reached this like peak of excitement. It was that, and it didn't go away. It just, this new level of joy just sustained in my day-to-day life. And I was just like, wow.
Still there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
It felt like it took up a space that I'd always known was there, and had been like, what is this space for? And it's like, oh, to be a father.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's a really beautiful way of explaining it.
Yeah. It was
What's your tips? So you've got, how old are your kids now?
2.5 and 4.
2.5 and 4.
Yeah.
So what are your tips? Like I look after my daughter every Saturday by myself.
Yeah.
And man, by the end of that Saturday, I am so tired and so bored, and like it's just exhausting. And I often say, I don't know how single parents do it.
Yeah.
Like no way in hell could I be a single parent. And B, like the person that stays at home, the primary caregiver for the babies, I'm like, Jesus Christ, you deserve medals. You deserve everything. So, I mean, you've obviously, do you feel like, do you get tired, or do you have some tips that you could share with us?
Yes, I get tired, and that's completely okay. And everyone no, I'm not going to say everyone's going to get tired. I have found myself tired at times and just frustrated of conversation with kids and not adults when it's been for a prolonged, like I've been caught up in parenthood and gone like weeks where it's just been like Rebecca and myself and the kids.
Yeah, right.
And the conversations start to dwindle, and what have you got to talk about? And and that has been a challenge in itself. And the main tip is remember who you are as a person, because that's the person your partner fell in love with. That's who you're going to be as the model to your kids.
Yeah.
And do things for yourself.
Yeah.
Time has been very tight, and when Rebecca and I have even had conversations today where she's like, I need some time. Finding that time is essential. It can seem hard. Even today, I found it hard going, where is this time going to fit in for her? I've been looking at the next week, seeing how busy our calendar is, and just going, she is voicing that she needs this, which is great. And where does this fit in? So finding that alone time so you can remember who you are is huge for me.
And are you guys working? Do you guys work together? What's the work situation look like for you guys?
Yeah, bits and pieces. So Rebecca has a photography company that I help her in. Sailor Creative is named after our first son, that she's grown from nothing over the past 4 years. She got a camera and went out there and has grown her own business that's doing actually great.
Yeah, wow.
Recently I've started helping out with the editing and a few shoots and things. She started out and it was around families and mothers and childbirth and newborns and that kind of thing. And then men have been like, we actually liked your style of photography. So that's where I've come in and started helping in the business with that.
Yep.
And then men's group facilitator, developmental coaching, mindset growth kind of thing. Beck does that as well.
Yep.
So it's all kind of, we're very fortunate as to our schedule is on our terms.
Yep.
So now more than ever, we're dividing up the load. So Rebecca really took the reins at first, especially after our first kid was born, and was learning everything and was just like, do this. And something I wish I'd had at the time was the adaptability skill to just go, okay, forget yesterday, today's this.
Yep.
quite a few times. I was like, you said this yesterday. And now it's the opposite. And I struggled to make sense of that. At the time, I was like, what? Like, you said this.
I go through that all the time.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? Yesterday we were doing this.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me we're doing this.
Yeah.
But I thought we were doing...
Yeah. That was the loop I
It's-
was stuck in, and that's where I come back to the listening
It's,
and letting go. Just, all right.
Yeah, and you can't take things personally either. Like the other night, Billy woke up. That's my daughter, Billy.
Yeah.
She woke up, and so I heard Tish. Like I was downstairs watching TV still. It was really early. Tish had just gone to bed, and so I heard Tish go in, and I was like, oh, maybe she needs some Panadol, right? So I'm like walking up the stairs. As I get to the top of the stairs, Tish slams the door in my face. Now, literally probably a week earlier, she's like, you know, if you hear Billy wake up and you can hear I'm in there, it would be nice if you can come up and see if I need anything, see if I'm okay. And it's like, so I do it the next time and I get the door slammed in my face.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's just a repetitive wheel that keeps going around and around and around.
Like you can't do anything right.
No, it's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
But I've learned you just can't take it personal.
Yeah, because it's not personal.
Yeah. It's just,
It's 3 o'clock in the morning and
they're
everyone's
just reacting.
asleep. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys read the book, The Way of the Superior Man?
I haven't. No.
Because they talk about what women are like and what men are like in terms of their personalities. And we are like a ship that knows where they're going, and we are like beeline straight ahead.
Yeah.
And whereas women are like doing this. This is kind of how they explain it. They're like changing their mind all the time, and our job is just to hold that space for them as they're making up that mind, and we're there to hold, you know, this is where we're going, and they'll kind of...
So we're like driving like a boat, like a speedboat,
Yeah.
and they're on the donut behind us, just
yeah.
YOLOing through life.
Yep, pretty much.
Were you amazed when your partner did get pregnant at how much knowledge the girls just seem to have?
Yeah.
Like out of freaking
It's that intuitive.
nowhere. It's like, what the hell? And then when the baby comes along, like, so when the baby came along for us, I was like, okay, it's out now. What the fuck do I do with her?
Yeah.
Like, I know nothing.
Yeah.
But they're just like,
Knew exactly what to do.
like, I didn't know how to change a nappy, but somehow she's there
All
changing
those
nappy,
little-
washing. I didn't know how to wash a baby. I'm like, well, what the
Yeah.
fuck? Do we put it in water? Like, how hot's the water?
Yeah.
Right?
Different powders for the baby clothes, so it's fun on the skin. And
Yeah, I didn't even know that we had baby clothes, man.
Yeah.
I got to the hospital and I was like, we have baby clothes? Like, yeah, it's crazy.
baffling. And I've since found out that Rebecca, and I'll make the assumption that other women actually research this stuff growing up and throughout their life, because for Rebecca, it's something she's always wanted.
Yeah.
So she'd done a lot of work on herself in preparation for this.
Yeah, she sounds like a great mum. Like, she sounds like she really...
She's an amazing mum.
Yeah. And it's funny you should say about research, because Alex has made me. She hasn't made me. She's
forced me.
recommended me to read a book, and she said, "Can you read this book? There's a few chapters you should read." So she goes, "You don't have to read the whole thing, but there's like 3 or 4 chapters." And I'm like, "Okay." I read them and I put it down on Sunday night. And she goes, "Have you finished? Have you?" And I'm like, "Yep." And she goes, "Okay, now for your quiz."
Like, fuck off.
So she gave me this quiz on all these different things. So tell me something you learned that you didn't know, and I had to go through this. Anyway, and I'm okay with it. I actually read it, and I'm like, I did learn things from this book.
Yeah.
You know, kind of how to support your partner through the pregnancy and what to expect. You know, it was about sex as well. It's called Afterbirth. It was a really good book. It's like your partner will not want sex for this amount of time, and it kind of gives you just a little bit of an insight onto that world after the baby. And the other day, we were in bed, and she got this other book out, and it's
Kama Sutra.
no, it was
For the pregnant.
It was,
Kama Sutra for the pregnant.
it was something like how to cope with pain during childbirth.
Ooh.
And she gave me this book, and I looked at it. I'm like, in my head, not out loud. Why the fuck am I reading this book? I'm not having to put up with this pain during this childhood. And she basically said to me, I said, okay, do I need to read this? And she's like, and going back to your researching and doing the work, she goes, think of it as solidarity. I shouldn't be the only one having to do all the research.
Yeah, right. Fair.
She's got a point.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I'm like, well, I am doing a podcast.
Yeah. Yeah,
We
we're
are-
doing a lot of research.
We're doing
here.
a lot of research here and a lot of learning. Even
Just in our way.
just in our way. But yeah, still, it's fine. I get it, and I'm happy to put the work in as well. I think it's I do want to understand, but we are doing the hypnobirthing. At the moment we're doing the prenatal classes with the hospital. So I've got 6 classes of those for 6 weeks. We're doing the hypnobirthing. I'm going up for a beers and bubs. I think it's next week or the week after. So I'm doing all the things. She's getting me prepared for all the things.
You're going to be more prepared than us.
And I was also recommended a acupuncture. You can do this like acupuncture, not without the needle, just with your hands, so you can find the pressure points and help your partner.
They'll teach that to you in hypno.
Oh, cool, because they were recommending that to me as well. And one of my friends today said it was really helpful because I felt like I had something to do in the pregnancy as well, like being able to actually help with and she said she found it really helpful and it did actually reduce the pain and those things. So that's another thing.
It really does. Did you find that as well?
I was lucky. Tish didn't have any, like, she was like, no, I'm good. Just let me, like, she was just in the zone. And she's just like, and then she sat in the pool and just laid in the pool and she fell asleep for 2 hours. And I'm there kneeling next to the pool for 2 hours.
Hence the knee pads.
Hence the knee pads. We did an episode just before where I was like, what to pack for dads. And I said knee pads. I wish I had some knee pads.
One of those little gardening sponges.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be gold. But yeah, I would have loved some knee pads and maybe my head pods, AirPods, and then maybe had like a little movie playing next to the bath. Just, you know, just.
If I'd have had a movie on, I'd have been thrown out the room.
Oh, we were talking about taking a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, Nintendo Switch. How long were the labours though? Like if my labour was, our labour was pretty short, so I didn't need it. But if there's been, like, we've heard stories like 36 hours.
72 was Phil's.
72. Like,
Ours was about 30 hours, the first one.
yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The baby decided to plug itself in.
Right.
It was,
was that 30 hours in hospital? Or was that like from...
Yeah. So we were at home for a couple of hours and the contractions picked up pace and we're in that regular, and we called the midwife and she was like, yeah, come up to the hospital.
Yeah.
And then the contractions were going all night and Beck ended up actually going to sleep for a few hours.
Yeah. And then what did you do while she was sleeping? Because this is my point to that.
Slept in the chair next to her.
Oh, so you slept as well?
Yeah.
It's probably a good idea.
Yeah. And time was a blur. Like, I had no idea, like, how long we'd been in there. And then it was like, the kid was a week old. It was like, what? And we hadn't slept really for like 2 nights. Maybe, we got to the hospital probably about 7 or 8 p.m. Like, slept for a few hours that night. The baby was born 20 past 9 p.m. the next night.
Wow.
I was sat on a bench and Beck was in the bed with the baby and a couple of hours sleep. And then our first night at home, every little noise the baby made, you're just like, oh, what is it? So yeah, that kind of like 3-4 day period was just like, just blurred into one.
Well, I got woken up at 11 o'clock and then I went back to sleep for an hour while Tish went and had a shower, shaved her entire body, did her hair, did her makeup.
Yeah.
Because she wanted to look good.
For the video.
For the video.
Yeah.
For the video, that I had to film.
Yeah, we did a video.
Did you film your video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, the video, man, I was there with, like, and I had my phone because I was trying, I bought a GoPro, but I didn't think forward enough to think, because it was like a brand new GoPro and I didn't know how to use it. So I had a GoPro, like a Hero 9, and I didn't know how to turn the touchscreen on. Yep. And so Tisha's like trying to get in a zone, and all she could hear was this GoPro like beeping, loud beeping. And anyway, so I ended up just doing it on my phone.
She wasn't happy about the beeping.
No. That's why I said headphones, man. You need headphones. And then, so yeah, but I was there, like when the baby was there, I had like a shower head in one hand, and then like a torch under my arm, and then the video over here, and then the midwife's like, do you want to deliver it? And I'm like, I'm a little busy. Maybe you guys can have this one.
Like, need another hand.
Yeah, it was crazy. But so I went back to sleep. Did I go back to sleep? Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, maybe I got like an hour sleep before we went into the hospital, and she was like, okay, I'm having a contraction. Can you start the timer? And it was like all you could hear, and I swear the whole apartment building would have been able to hear it, was start the timer, stop the timer. Anyway, and the contraction timer was telling me to go to hospital. It's like, it's time to go to hospital and meet your baby.
Yeah.
Like, so nice, and like this
Calm
stupid
and, yeah.
app. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm thinking, Tish doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't know when to start and stop the contractions. Like, she doesn't know what she's doing. It's first baby. I'm gonna like give it a couple more. And anyway, so went to the hospital, and I'm like, there's no way they're gonna send us home, because you hear all these stories, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, she was 6 centimeters dilated when we got to the hospital. So she was well and truly ready to go when the contraction timer, but I was like, nah, it can't be. I might be doing it wrong. I might be pressing the start stop button too wrong. But yeah, anyway. But I had no idea about any of it, really. So hypnobirthing was a godsend, for sure. For sure.
It would be nice to get Megan on.
Yeah, I've been I tried when we first started. So, but she doesn't answer Instagram that much, I don't think. I'll call her. She's great. We actually ran into her just after we had Bub, and like, you know, like we were out of it, we were sleep deprived, and she comes running up to us in the shop, and she's like, she's so involved with everyone that she teaches, like how to do this, and she's like, oh my God, and then just picks up the baby. Like, it was just, she's just an amazing woman. So anyway, but yeah, we'll get her on.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that we'll get her on. So yeah. Anyways. But yeah.
So what has been out with your new, what was it like having your second child, and how did your other child react to the new baby? Was there any, and how did that dynamic work?
Yeah, so having the second child, we were a lot more prepared. The biggest difference was having food ready in the house. So we made up a whole bunch of things, went and bought a whole load of things, had things in the freezer ready to go. So it was one thing we didn't have to think of when we got home. And yeah, the hyperemesis had been so much more manageable compared to the first time. So Beck was a bit better in herself. We'd only had 2 trips to hospital this time. And then Sailor, our eldest is called Sailor, the youngest is called Harley. And Sailor loved it from day one. He was just like looking at the baby over there, just like, what's going on here? And just,
You know what's weird? I was thinking of baby names today, and Harley was one of them for a boy.
Yeah.
I'm like, Harley's because I thought of Harvey, but I've had a bad experience with a Harvey. So like Harley, I'm like, oh, Harley's a nice name.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, cool.
Yeah, one of my oldest friends back home is Harley, and that's where.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, we took a trip to England, actually, just over halfway through the second pregnancy.
Wow.
Beck was like, do you want to go? I was like, let's go.
Why not?
So we got on a plane and went to visit my family, and
She seems like a go-getter. Like, she's suffering from that. She's got another... How old was your oldest sailor?
how old was he? He must have been 1 and a bit.
Cool.
Yeah, so you got...
That's a long flight.
You got a 1 and a bit year old.
Yeah.
You're suffering from this thing where you literally can't eat anything without vomiting it up.
Without the tablets. So taking the tablets was
Help.
the changer, yeah.
But still, and she's like, you want to go to England?
Yeah. It was Christmas, and it was actually great. And then so she got sick on the flight out of London to Dubai as we were coming back.
Yeah.
And this was at the end of January, right before they stopped the flights.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
We could have been stuck. And it worked out amazing because we changed flights at Dubai, and Beck was still being sick, and we was like, we need to get off the plane. And then we had an impromptu 4-day holiday in Dubai, and
Nice.
it was incredible.
Yeah, sweet.
Yeah. And having the 2 boys together is just can't explain. Just the experiences you witness, when you just witness them playing together, and sometimes they fight and they learn each other's boundaries, and the golden moments when they're just giggling and rolling around just of their own accord is
Yeah, beautiful.
to find words for that is like,
Yeah.
I just,
Pure love and joy. By
Yeah.
the sound of things.
yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, you go. You go.
it's
I was
good.
just going to ask if there was a third going to come along. Is there a third?
Yeah. But,
In the plan?
like, we both want a girl.
Yeah,
We've
now
got
to
2
now.
boys.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Now to now.
And you can't.
When do you stop?
How do you choose? Like, yeah.
I actually really want to go. Well, I do want to go. I've got to stop saying I really want one. I don't mind what I have.
Yeah.
But I'm looking to. I really like a daughter.
Yeah.
So I'll probably keep. I don't know if we'll keep trying for a daughter, but it's a. You're playing the Russian roulette there, aren't you?
I want a son.
Yeah.
I've got a daughter, though. So,
Yeah.
one of each would be ultimate goal.
Yeah. And in terms of support, because your family are in England, I'm guessing. Where's your partner's support
So
or family?
our kids were grandchildren 7 and 8 on Beck's side of the family. So her 2 older sisters already had a heap of kids, and Nan had already been Nan, and great grandma has already done that a whole load of times, and the calendar's full up. So we've predominantly been on ourselves. We've predominantly been by ourselves for this whole experience, and my family have visited from England, and Beck's family have done bits and pieces here and there. And support, if you can position yourself to be in a place where you have support around you, I can see the value of it. And now we're working to a place with our businesses and stuff where we can start paying for the kind of support we want.
Yeah.
And it's something I wish I'd known about prior. As it's just, it gives you that time to breathe, to have time together.
Yeah.
Like it's, and for Rebecca to be away from the children, she has to know that this person is, I have to know as well. And Rebecca is just, this person has to be aligned with our values, that I have to know that my babies are safe
Yeah.
and loved while I'm not there.
Yeah.
And that was a journey for us.
So do you guys do childcare at all at the moment?
Our older boy goes to a place in North Burley called Grounded Traditions, which is a kind of Steiner homeschool situation where it's 1 adult to 4 kids. And Matt and Avalon run that, and it's incredible. And our younger boy is starting on Tuesday. So he'll be going 1 day a week.
Nice.
Harley will go 1 day a week, Sadie goes twice a week. So, and that's our kind of daycare schedule at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been some great new daycares opening on the coast, and the wait lists are over 300 people.
That's what we're going through now.
Yeah.
Is the wait list.
Yeah.
So,
And we went to see a regular daycare the other day and left. we took the tour and was just like, well, this isn't it.
This is a kind of daycare.
Yeah. And the lady was
Kids in
lovely that showed
cage.
us around. Yeah.
kids in cages. We need a free range daycare.
Like the chickens.
Yeah, like the chickens.
Yeah.
It's
And the difference they get from going to Grounded Traditions, where went on Instagram the other day and they're teaching Sailor how to use this little axe to chop wood for the fire, and they have a urban kind of homestead, and there's chickens and there's veggies growing, and it's a big sand pit and things, and then every other week they take them out either into Tally Valley or the beach and just take them on experiences and just
Really cool. I did blacksmithing yesterday, did I tell you?
Did you?
I took a day off up and went up to Brisbane. I went to this, it's called a cracked anvil forge.
Yeah.
And it was a knife making class. So I got to heat up steel in the forge, bang it into a shape, sharpen it, or, grind it back, and then add a handle. And I had a knife at the end. It was a full day experience.
I need to get the details.
Yeah, it was fun. Have you ever watched that show Forged in Fire?
No.
There's a show called Forged in Fire where they do it.
Okay.
And they get contestants on, they forge knives.
Yeah.
And then they do all these tests to make sure they don't just look good, but they function. So sharpness, strength tests. And
I've lost many hours on the loo scrolling TikTok on those things.
yeah, it's cool. So actually, it was a birthday present from, I think, Phil's partner and my mum and dad for February. But yeah, we finally got to do it, and it was a really fun experience.
Yeah.
I haven't
sounds
seen
great.
any knives around though.
I should show you. I'll show you it.
Yeah.
I've got pictures.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was fun talking about new experiences. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's, I think it's really important.
That is something that I have learnt on my Saturdays is just get the fuck out of the house.
Yeah.
Like as soon as so my partner goes to work at about 9 o'clock. Usually Bub's still sleeping or has gone down for her first nap. As soon as she's awake, I'm like, right, we've got to go do something and get the hell out of the house, because if you stay in the house, it's just like a freaking pit of despair. I do not know how people do it did it during COVID. Like I'm like, it would have been, I won't say that. It's a bit unfair, but it's a bit not nice. But yeah, I don't know how people do it. I would have just hated myself.
Yeah, so our second was born in March as everything shut.
Yeah.
And
So
like Beck's
full lockdown,
relatives,
baby.
Yeah, so Beck's relatives at the time lived a few hundred meters down the road, and they like come to the front drive to like, because at the time we had no idea like, like
How long is this going to be?
yeah, and like, is it dangerous? Like, what is it dangerous for the baby? Is it like what even is this? And so yeah, we were. To be honest, I'd forgotten all about that part until you mentioned it then, and we were.
Yeah,
Yeah,
did you get batshit crazy? I would have.
We just ended up going for walks a lot.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, the value of leaving the house and the way the time passes with mixing up your environment.
Yeah.
So driving to a place and then taking a walk and seeing things. And we were living in Tweed at the time, so we'd go down towards Cooley, and you could kind of walk like from Tweed over towards like Rainbow and stuff. And we'd just take the babies in the stroller and just go for a walk by the ocean. There was no one around, and it was so refreshing. And to double down on your point of get out the house, it really makes the day go so much better, and wearing the kids out.
Yeah.
Home days can be great. Like I was at home with the kids today while Beck was working, and it was a rainy day, and we'd just go from one room to the next room. And Beck built their cubby house in the lounge room before she left this morning, and and then you tidy each room, and you spend the day following the kids around, delivering snacks and
tidying up after them.
Yeah.
Sounds never ending.
It is. It's never ending, James.
That's where the never ending story maybe.
It's never ending until the sweet release of death.
Yeah. But I think as you said before, it's really important to release that pressure, and not having your family supporting or friends to come in or someone that you trust to come in and help relieve that pressure. It must build.
Yeah.
And then what do you do with your relationship with your partner? It's how do you get those date nights in and things like that?
So I'll talk about a bit about how the pressure built for us and where we actually ended up at the end of last year.
Yeah.
And growing up, my mum and dad separated when I was about 3 years old. My dad lived down the road, and I could never make sense of it. I grew up in my mum's house. I never really had like a predominant father figure teaching me how to be a man and the skills you need as a man to support a woman. And I was doing the best I could, and I just we got to this point in our relationship where I felt like I was banging my head against the wall. Beck felt like she didn't even know who I was. I felt like I didn't know who she was. We were going around in circles, not getting anywhere in conversation, in day-to-day, in work. Like, it was just like, what is this? And it got us to a point where Beck actually put the kids in the car and went to her mum's house and stayed there for 2 to 3 weeks. And that was the biggest growth part of my entire life. It was in the past, when relationships had kind of got to that point, I'd visited the why me, why is this happening?
Victim
Mode. And in this, I was really upset. And I remember the first night that she wasn't there, I couldn't sleep, and I was laying in bed, and something came over me, and I was like, I need to feel this. That I knew there was some sort of growth coming from this. I was like, I need to experience this pain to be able to be the man that my family needs and the man that I need to be. And that led me to reaching out for help, looking at men's groups. I reached out to a man named Simon Walker, who I'm now a facilitator of the same men's group, Men's Collective on the Gold Coast. And he invited me into him and his wife's house to have a conversation I got hold of Beck and said, hey, I've been speaking to this man, Simon. Him and his wife have these skills. They've offered us a chance to go to their house to speak about everything. And after COVID and us being on our own, we'd tried couple counselling and was just like, we just go there and talk about our problems, and then the problems are back up, and then we go home, and kind of what's the point in that? And they kind of really reframed everything for us and put us on the right track. And the biggest piece that I learned, and the most valuable piece that I learned in that whole experience, was accountability. And the things that the thing of like, why would you do this to me? That kind of stuff just went out the window, and was like, how did I create this? How am I responsible for this separation? What can I do to show up and fix this? And then I just started showing up for her and sending her messages, letting her know she was loved. The first thing I did was I wrote a letter holding myself accountable for everything on my side. I then stated, this is what I'm experiencing. This is the work I'm starting now for myself and for you. I love you. And then backed it up with action and dove into the work and just started exploring what it means to be a man, and the accountability, and just taking the responsibility for yourself to know that if you're having an argument, like, it's your fault. Either side, if you take that accountability of it's because of you, because it is your experience, everything changes. And she came home, and we're happier than ever. And now there's conversations about a third baby, and the business is doing incredible, and we've moved to a house that we love, and we're in a great location and a great place in life. And if that separation hadn't have happened, we'd have none of this. So huge pain gave huge lessons, and the reward is mind-blowing, priceless. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
It's also, it's not just the separation that caused it. You obviously stepped up and really did some self-internal work, which is awesome as well.
Yeah.
So I think without you doing that work, you probably wouldn't be as happy
Absolutely.
as what you are
Yeah.
now. That's my key takeaway from that.
Yeah.
And what kind of tools, apart from writing the accountability piece and working through that, was there any other tools that really helped you through that?
The listening and what I had perceived as nagging, and growing up around men that spoke about women nagging, was like,
Sorry.
We've all experienced that.
I don't know what you mean.
yeah. So with the nagging, I'd perceived it as, why are these bringing up old stuff and going over and over these things? We've spoke about that thing. What are you talking about? And then one of the first things Simon's told me was, the nagging is a list of reference points where you made them feel the same way in the past, and they want you to recognize your behavior in that scenario is the same.
It's not about the thing, right? It's not about the noodles.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not about the noodle. It's not about that. It's
Yeah.
about a behavior that's making them feel a certain way
Yeah.
that is repeated and keeps
Yeah.
happening. But they mustn't know how to express that the way that we need to hear it, so that we understand what they're saying.
Like if they were men, they'd probably just say, "Hey, you do this time and time again. Remember that time that you did with the noodles, and then blah blah
Yeah.
blah."
Yeah. So
and this is
and it's also a reactive thing for them, because in that moment they're feeling that emotion and they're just reacting to that emotion, and it must, I'm guessing, and we just take it the wrong way, and then you just have that circle of emotions and egos just kind of clashing.
And now I've been told that, I know what it is. Is this like, and I'd never heard it before.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, well, that's easy.
Yeah. Why didn't someone tell us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see how what I've done has made you feel like this, and I see the relevance to how that made you feel in the past, and apologies where apologies are due, and I love you and I'm here for you, and
And I think
I'll learn from this.
when we get into that defensive space of it's not me, it's not my fault, like defense, I think that's when you start to get in trouble. And when you said before,
Yeah.
I have a part to play in this. I did something wrong as well. It's on me as well.
Yeah.
I think that's really important to accept that there's two of us in this, and I've done my part as much as you've done your part, and how can we work out what's going on so that we can then show up in a different way so we don't make things worse, and we can kind of work towards resolving those issues.
Absolutely. And there's so much growth in that. Because there's been times where I've just been in the past where I just disagree.
Yeah.
Like, no, I feel like this. And if you can actually dive into yourself and go, oh, this is what it was. The growth in those moments, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. Do you have do you still feel, how am I going to phrase it, at night, like do you still feel a bit bored? Maybe not bored, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like, you know, like there's nothing wrong with your relationship, but because you got kids and like you're stuck, you're not stuck, but you're tied, you're almost tied to the house, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you still feel bored? Did you?
It's
Well, since
like
doing
you
this
were
work-
struggling. I could see you searching for the word then.
Yeah.
It's I get what you're saying, and yeah, that, because we both came from such busy social lives and predominantly evening like social lives, and being at friends' houses and having friends around for dinner and going out places, and that just stopped.
Yeah.
Like when Beck got sick the first time. So it was, over this year, we've been really focusing on like date nights and, hey, this has come up, I want to do this. And even coming here tonight, like these things actually bring huge value. Tonight, there's going to be something for me to talk about when I get home.
Yep.
Like Beck was out working today, so there's something for her to bring home and us to talk about. I've come out to this, there's something else to talk about. And those conversations just kind of fuel in the healthy relationship and fit it in where you can.
Yeah.
And date nights, remembering that you're a couple first and your relationship, you have children and your relationship is still the primary, like, stable center of the whole thing that's going on. And remembering to invest time into that has been huge for me.
Yeah. Geez, Tisha and I haven't had a date night for a year.
Yeah. We've done the same thing. It was probably over 2 years.
Yeah, because we have a lot of family around us that help us and support us, but we use them for Tish to go to work.
Yeah.
Essentially, like, so they step up and they look after her during the week. We don't have babysitters, so sorry, we don't have daycare yet. We're not in daycare, so we utilise that. So, like, you know, the family support is awesome that we've got, but yeah, if we want to get out, it's like, well, we've used up all our chips. You know, we don't want to take advantage. So, but yeah, geez, date night would be good. We'd probably be at home by 7.
And it doesn't matter. I remember our first New Year's Eve, we were like, it got to 9 o'clock and we were like, we're going to bed.
Yeah, we go to bed.
Yeah.
We went out last couple of weekends ago. It's like 7:30, man. We should probably wrap it up.
Yeah, I came out after Tish got home, got the bub, I showered bub, and I met up with you guys, and then I was like, all right, good. And then it was literally 2 drinks, and then I was home. So, yeah, good times compared to our old 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m.
And the lack of sleep was, I was not prepared for, I used to believe I needed like at least 8 hours. Like, if I sleep through this, then I can function in the day better and all these kind of things. So then go into waking up every half an hour. It's just like, what do you do? And that initial sleep deprivation was crazy. And now it became a routine. And we've been so lucky with our boys just sleeping through the night after waking up to feed like early on, and then just developing into these kids that sleep. And if they wake up, it's because they've lost their teddy or a dummy or something. You just tuck them back in and they go back to sleep.
Yeah, well, that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, what are we on here? Are we
Just on an hour.
Yeah. Is there any lasting advice that you would give to new fathers or unplanned pregnancies? Is there any takeaways that, you know, have really changed your experience that you would pass on to someone going through something similar?
listen to your woman and hold yourself accountable. Just without a doubt, those two things.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah. Comes up a lot.
Listen to hear, not
And
to
be-
respond.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And be adaptable.
Yeah. Oh, that was a good one. You said that earlier. Yeah, be adaptable to the.
Yeah. Listening doesn't require talking back, hey?
That's all.
We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for that reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should listen twice as much as we speak.
See, I'm a smart ass, so I get in trouble a lot. I can't help it. I got in trouble the other day. I was working, Tish called me at work. And I was on the phone, and then somebody was asking me a question. And I was like, can I just call you later? Anyway, and, it just came out. And anyway, so she hung up the phone on me. And I was like, oh, I've done it here. She's fine. But I'm like, so I sent her a message. Are you not talking to me? She goes, no. I was like, okay, fine. And then I was like, this is just silly. I was like, what's more important, silliness or love? That friend scene. Yeah. Anyway, it worked a treat. The silliness or love? Like, what's more important, silliness or love?
Always love.
Anyway, but yeah,
Always love. Yeah, awesome. Well,
where can people find you before we wrap it up?
Nicholas Marsh on everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Check out TikTok.
Yeah.
Great
for
idea for the ice cream.
Yeah. The TikTok has just become desserts and
we're pretty much with a TikTok famous person here.
Yeah, you're our first TikToker.
yeah, right. I wouldn't say TikTok famous, and my first video went mad, and now I'm like, how can I follow this up and make it worth it?
Yeah,
So-
I did see 2 chocolate ones. So
Yeah,
it
I've
looks
just
like
been pouring chocolate on things like Krispy Kremes, birthday cakes,
Yeah,
Yeah, and Instagram is much more diverse.
yeah,
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 yeah. Cool.
pour chocolate on things. It's
Well,
so
put-
simple.
Yeah,
That's all we had to do.
it's
Or pour chocolate on my baby.
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So, and do you run men's groups or you?
Yeah, I'm one of the facilitators at Men's Collective every Thursday night to 2859 Gold Coast Highway. It goes from 6:30 till 8:30. It's open to everyone.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And are they free or are you?
That's free, and it's a place to go chat. That's not the pub.
Oh, it
It's
sounds
just
good,
a
man.
place
Sounds
for
really good.
conversation. Yeah.
We'll put some links into the podcast, and hopefully, if there's any guys out there that need that space, which I think is a really good time to release some of that pressure that happens to us,
Yeah.
would be really, really awesome.
Men's Collective, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
That's awesome, man.
Thanks so much, Nick.
Thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
I've loved everything you've said, and I think it's really insightful for a lot of people out there. So thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone. We'll see you next episode.
Bye. Bye, guys.